Hi again everyone, Scott Player Pop Cult Fan here, and I want to mention in this video that I plan on doing two videos today, two movie reviews, because yesterday I had a pretty busy afternoon, but it was a fun busy afternoon because I saw two movies in theaters. I saw the Blue Beetle movie with my best friend Sean, and I did do a review with him over on his channel, but I also want to do my own review here on my channel, go a little bit more in depth with my thoughts on that film. And also last night I went to the theaters again with my mom and my sister to see the new horror film Talk to Me, and I will give my thoughts and my review on that movie after this. So let's go ahead and give my review of Blue Beetle, talk a little bit more about it. And yeah, I think this movie, Blue Beetle, as I was saying in Sean's video, I would definitely think that this movie in particular, while it doesn't do anything new or different with the genre, it does something that sets it apart from other superhero films as of late that does make it feel distinct, and I really appreciate that because you have the character of Jaime Reyes, right? And you're following him, but not just him, you're also following his family throughout the film. You have him, his uncle played by George Lopez, by the way, who I freaking loved him in this movie. George Lopez was hilarious, as he always is. I've always liked George Lopez in whatever film or show that he's in. He's just a very funny guy. And he just has quite the presence about him, and I just loved every minute that he was of him in this film. And also you have Jaime's sister and Jaime's mom and Jaime's grandmother, who was also one of my favorite characters in the film. His grandmother had some really funny moments in this film, especially in that third act. And yeah, it's really interesting what they do with the story here, because you have, Cord Industries, founded by Ted Cord, and Ted Cord he made a lot of his own technology because his sister, was it his sister? But like the main villain of the movie, Ted Cord was kicked out of the Cord Industries company, and I can't remember her name at the moment, but she sort of booted him out and became the new CEO, and she was essentially the main villain of the movie. And you also had this other like big guy who was with her, like her right hand, who you enjoyed watching as well. Like, I liked his character, even though I feel like the villains in this movie, I think they did a decent job with their backstories, especially the big guy. I just didn't really care for the woman that much, because they didn't really do much with her character. They didn't really give her, or they didn't really give us, the audience, a reason to sympathize with her. We just don't like her at all. And then you also have Ted Cord's daughter, Jennifer. She was nice too. I liked her. She's pretty, and and she was sort of basically the love interest to Jaime, and I really liked all of that. I think this movie, it had a lot of humor and a lot of heart, especially with the family. And also Jaime's dad had a really great moment in the film that reminded me of the Spider-Man Tobey Maguire films. And just overall, I think this movie did something that we haven't had in superhero movies in quite a while, if you ask me. Granted, I think the Flash movie did a decent job with its story too, but I like both the Flash movie and Blue Beetle for different reasons. I think that film was decent. It just had really bad CGI. But this movie, I don't think the CGI in this movie was that bad. It was actually pretty good CGI, all things considered. It felt like this movie felt like what the CW shows were, in tone, and also there was a nice little Easter egg reference to the CW shows in this movie, and that got quite the moment out of me. That was I loved that. I loved that reference. That was amazing, especially because I love cheeseburgers. And yeah, and also there's also this one other moment in this film that I genuinely loved, because one of my favorite rock songs by Motley Crue was in this movie, and it was accompanied by a pretty great action sequence, and I loved that scene. It was easily my favorite scene in the movie. And the third act, I think they did a really good job with the final battle between Jaime and that big guy. There was a nice little moment between those two in that third act. And I think what they do in regards to how they end the story, it was really touching, really moving, and overall the score was really great too. I liked the score, and overall it was a very solid film. The only flaw I really have with this movie is just, the lead villain, the woman, they just didn't really do too much with her character, and that's really the only flaw I can think of. Like I said, this movie is very comedic, so it felt like a comedy movie in a lot of ways, and I really enjoyed it. I think most of the humor landed. I guess like some of the humor didn't all work for me, but most of it did. And also, another thing worth talking about with this film is the familiarity in regards to certain things, especially with the Blue Beetle suit. It's very much akin to, say, the Iron Man suit, and also Tom Holland's Spider-Man suit in the earlier Spider-Man films in the MCU. There's certain aspects to it that's similar to Iron Man, Spider-Man, and also in regards to what they do with the Scarab, Beetle itself. It's essentially sentient, similar to the Venom symbiote, and in that way it's quite similar, having like a symbiotic relationship to a host from this alien organism. It is similar to Venom in that way, and I think that's rather fascinating. There's a lot of familiarity in this film, and it's a safe, familiar film that distinguishes itself a little bit with the family being the main focus of the film, and I loved that. This was a really great film, and my grade for it is an A. I love this film. It's that good to me. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Blue Beetle, and really soon after this I will also do my Talk to Me review. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, peace.